It's that time of year as Kent State basketball took to Rocket Arena in Cleveland for the MAC tournament. We tell you how the men and women's teams fared in the tourney.
Two powerhouses of the ACC faced off in the conference championship. Find out how Duke took down Louisville to win the ACC tournament. And the Orlando Magic stopped the Cavs in their tracks on the road. We have the highlights and a whole lot more as another edition of Sports Corner is all yours right now. From the Franklin Hall studio on the campus of Kent State University, this is Sports Corner. Alongside Liv Sharp, I'm Matt Corrali, who clearly left his green tie at home. And a happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you out there. Liv, jam-packed show this evening, as a lot of people will be joining the program later on.
I know, we've got like a live studio audience back there. It's set to be a fun one. But first, Kent State Gymnastics had themselves quite the Sunday down in Columbus. The Golden Flashes finished the regular season at Ohio State over the weekend. In the first rotation, Charlie Boehner matched a career high on the floor with a 9.875, leading Kent State to tie for third place for the event. In the second rotation, Boehner and Maya Migliore put up the highest scores of the Flashes with a pair of 9.825s. At the end of the second rotation, Kent State put up a 4.850 on the vault. Kent State's best performance came in rotation 3 on the bars. Boehner posted a score of 9.9, matching a career high and setting a new season high. The Flashes earned a total of 49.1, marking the fourth consecutive meet that Kent State surpassed the 49 mark on the bars. Finally, Ashley Morgan claimed a podium spot on the beam, where she tied for third with a score of 9.85. At the end of the day, the Flashes finished in fourth out of 4 teams, but despite their finish, their score was 195.650, and that was the team's best score on the road.
Over on the diamond, the Kent State baseball team took down the Hofstra Pride in a 15-5 final in an 8-inning mercy rule on Sunday at home. After a 45-minute rain delay, Hayden Yatchek and Alejandro Kovas led the offensive charge for the Golden Flashes, combining for 4 hits, 5 runs scored, and 4 runs driven in between the two of them. Kent State will be back in action Tuesday, heading to Pittsburgh to take on the Panthers. And joining us now is the man that was our correspondent over at Schoonover Stadium, not just for this series against Hofstra, but for all the home games as well. It's Stone O'Brien. Thanks for joining us, Stone.
You're welcome.
Excited to have you here. But Stone, I mean, we got to talk about the obvious. What are some holes on the team so far this season?
So far throughout the season, when I take a look at just how everything shakes up, first off, it's the pitching. They need a midweek arm. They've got some big-time opponents coming in the Schoonover Stadium, specifically next week. The Oregon Ducks, who are one of the top teams in the nation. A good midweek arm could get you some wins, and as I'll touch on later, may lead down to an at-large bid later in the season for the NCAA baseball tournament. And then another weekend arm, they've shuffled some names in there, but each name that's earned the start has kind of struggled, not gone deep into games. And the bullpen actually comes in and does a decent job of holding things where they're at, where they need to be. But speaking of the rain delay, 45 minutes and knocked Jacob Bean out of the ball game. Eric Chalice comes in, pitches 5 1/3 innings, strikes out 9, his best outing of the season after struggling to start the season. And then lastly, another thing that needs a massive improvement is the defense. Sunday, they had no errors, and it snapped the streak of 15 errors in 6 games, and you just can't have that. Yeah. There was multiple games. They actually somehow won both of them, surprisingly, despite having 5 errors. So it shows that the pitching is able to limit the damage from those errors, but they will definitely come back to bite later in MAC play.
Yeah, and this is a team that is fairly young with some freshmen that have gotten some significant playing time. Who are some of those first-year guys that have really stood out to you?
So Micah Kirikoff was picked as the preseason MAC Freshman of the Year, and he's lived up to the hype so far. He's hit over 300. He's stolen bases. He ended the game on Sunday, 15-5. He hit a home run that led to the run rule. He's got great speed. I've seen timed is in the 4s from home to first, which is very quick. And he's just had good defense and made an outstanding catch against Virginia Tech that was viral on social media. And Sawyer Solitaire, those are the 2 freshmen that have played all season. Solitaire is also hitting 300 for the season. He got a little more pop in the bat. He homered twice in the opening weekend, and then he clobbered one. Legend has it the ball landed in the rec center. That's how far the ball went.
Tattooed.
That's a little Kent State joke for you guys.
And then Brady Marshall this weekend, we talked about the defense finally finding some stability. Luke Matthews, not in the lineup recently. Brady Marshall, a freshman, he stepped up and provided that defensive stability because they had Yatsik at short, and it was a part of those errors and stuff. He also had some key hits on offense. I'm excited to see how he contributes throughout the rest of the season.
Now, touch really quickly. This was a big story coming out of Kent State that we have some really good MLB prospects. Touch on that very quickly about what you've seen from them.
So Jake Casey, I love everything about his offensive game. He takes professional ABs, and he could be down 0-2 in the count, but he'll foul off pitches. He'll be a stickler. He'll get you back into that count. He'll draw walks. He gets on base a ton. He has like 10 hit by pitches on the season. He's also hitting over 300, and he can take the ball deep. Gavin Jones, he's the ace. He's commanded that precedence. He's improved start over start. Fastball's been up to the mid-90s. He's got an elite breaking ball, and I expect both of them to be drafted. Ripken Reese is another name that was listed in the prospects, but he hasn't had the exact start to the season that he's on, but there's still time to turn it around, and just like you can be cold, you can get it hot quickly.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you, Stone. We appreciate the analysis very much.
Welcome.
Yeah. Well, both the women's and men's basketball squads here at Kent State went to Rocket Arena in Cleveland, just north of here, to participate in the MAC tournament, and here is how it all went down. Starting off with the defending conference champs, the Kent State women's squad started their title defense with a 68-81 win over Miami. Bridget Dunn and Deanna Gray both put in double-doubles to grab a win that needed all 40 minutes of game time. The starting five for the Golden Flashes all scored in double figures. They advanced to the semifinals to take on the #1 seed, the Ball State Cardinals.
And on that Friday against Ball State, senior Bridget Dunn reached a game high of 13 rebounds, allowing the senior to break the single-season rebound record set in the 1989-1990 season. Senior Jenna Batch was the top scorer for the Flashes with 14 points, extending her streak of 32 games of scoring in double digits. The women did not make the WNIT after that loss.
And on the men's side, they started their quest to win their second conference title in 3 years with a 73-66 win over Western Michigan. 4 Flashes scored in double figures as Brunswick native Marquise Barnett led the way in scoring with 18 points, and they would advance to face the 2 seed in the tourney, the Miami Redhawks.
Yeah, against the Redhawks, the Flashes were not able to keep up. Jalen Sullinger had an outstanding performance with 29 points. This is Sullinger's 3rd highest scoring game of the season. After several lead changes, a 3-pointer from Miami's Cam Kraft gave the Redhawks the edge over the Flashes. The men, however, will play in the NIT tournament against St. Bonaventure tomorrow at 7.
All right, and joining us now was the individual that went to Rocket Arena for all of those games in the 2025 conference tourney. It's our own Maddox Miller. Maddox, thanks for joining us.
Of course. I'm really excited to talk about this. It was a great time in Cleveland.
Yeah, so let's just get to what happened on Friday night. It's not common to have both of the teams lose on the same day. So what do you think went wrong for the respective squads?
Yeah, it's tough. Men missing out on the title game, first time since 2021. Women, you mentioned defending champs, missing out on the title game. Some praises though, still won a tournament game, still impressive thing to do. But starting on the women's side, it's hard to say that the Kent State team did anything wrong because Ball State just shot the lights out.
Yep.
They shot 50% from both the field and 3 for majority of the game until it got into the 4th quarter where the game was kind of over and just some shots were getting chucked up. Nothing you can really do about that. It just seemed like everything that the Cardinals put up was going. They also got off to a really sluggish start, down 20-8 after the 1st quarter. Coach mentioned it, Coach Starkey mentioned it in the press conference where it's like, you can't just put yourself in a hole like that and expect to dig yourself out. It's really tough. Some other issues, some iffy shooting performances from some people. Jenna Batch just didn't fully look like herself and kind of didn't seem as aggressive as she did against the Miami team on Wednesday. Moving over to the men's side though, just poor performances from some of the top guys. Sullinger though played great. I hate to say it, but Von Cameron Davis just did not look like himself. It seemed like anything he put up, there was just a wall around the basket, and it just couldn't fall. 4 for 22 across the 2 games in the tournament. 0 for 5 against Western, 4 for 17 against Miami. Just a tough game from them. Against Miami specifically, really struggled to get the baskets when they needed them. It would seem like they'd have a 2-point lead, and then they would miss when they could get a 4-point lead, and then Miami would come down and hit a 3. And that just made it really difficult for Kent State to hold on. And some untimely shots led up against the Red Hawks. You mentioned that Cam Kraft 3, especially the one on the inbound play where Miami's head coach said he drew it up in the timeout. And that was really impressive to draw up, get a guy open like that. Just some tough things. Still a good season, though, for the Flashes, but certain things just didn't go their way.
Now, we did mention the women did not make the WNIT, but the men will be playing in the NIT tomorrow night. But really, what does this team have to play for, and, what kind of motivation can they find?
Yeah, I think what they have to play for is just general competitive pride. All these guys are competitors. They all have drive to win, and that's what they're going to have to find. Obviously, you're not playing on the stage that you want to, but you're still getting a stage to play on. And you have to just go make the most of it. It's not like the NIT is a bunch of nobodies. There are schools there that have been competitive. Arkansas State, I believe, is in the NIT, and that's a team that Kent State played a very tight win against, had a deep run in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. So it's that drive to win. You want to get that bad taste out of your mouth. You don't want, and I think especially for some of the guys who didn't perform how they wanted to in the MAC, they want to end on a higher note, especially the seniors. I think guys like VCD, like Marquise, Claron, those guys are going to want to go out there and put on a show and see if they can get a further run than they did in the MAC tournament. I think that is what they have to find is, yes, the NIT, like I said earlier, it's not where you necessarily want to be, but it's still a good place to be. There's nothing wrong with the NIT. There's nothing wrong with it, especially for these mid-major conferences, the non-Power 4 conferences. This is your chance to go and make a name for yourself.
All right, thanks, Maddox. You appreciate it.
Yep.
Well, it's the greatest time of the year. We'll give you our thoughts on the NCAA tournament and the teams to watch out for that could cut down the nets.
What's up, NFL fans? Quarterback Josh Dobbs here. You may know me as the Pastronaut.
This is my time. I'm on the rise. Can't hold me down, I'm too fly. This is my time.
I've always loved space and football. Growing up, some people told me I had to choose. But here's the deal. You can be great at more than one thing, and getting involved in STEM opens up your world to a universe of opportunities in life. Space isn't just for the astronauts.
It's for all of us. It's not just for engineers like myself. It's for teachers,
students,
designers, mechanics, scientists,
and millions of football fans across the world.
3, 2, 1, watch out, here I come. This is my time. I'm on the rise. Can't hold me down, I'm too fly. This is my time.
Get inspired and get involved today. There are STEM programs and science centers available in your community, so be sure to check out spaceforall.us to learn more and get started.
This is my time.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, without their star player Cooper Flagg, Duke needed one more win Saturday to claim an outright bid to the NCAA tournament with an ACC title. Let's take you to their matchup with the Louisville Cardinals. 1 versus 2 in the conference, so let's get it on. Early first, Tyrese Proctor the lob to Kaman Maluach, and it's 4-2 Blue Devils. 11-7 Duke in front. Noah Waterman of the Cardinals will have himself a wide open tray. It's a 1-point game. Later on, Tyrese Proctor, you'll hear from him throughout this highlight. He'll knock down a wide-open three in the corner. A few minutes later, however, Terrence Edwards Jr. will respond, going inside and the foul. He'll miss the free throw, so Duke stays in front by 1, all tied up at 25. Proctor will let it fly and drain it. He had 19 points, led all Duke scores to give the Blue Devils a 3-point lead. Cards looking to respond. Chucky Hepburn to James Scott for the dunk to even it at 31. And the next Louisville possession, Edwards will catch it, let it fly, and circle it home. It's 38-33 Louisville at the half. In the second half, Con Knipple lays it in. A 5-0 Duke run ties it. Cardinals up 1. Edwards leans into a long 2 as the shot clock expires to go up 3. Next Duke possession, how about Sion James getting some space and letting it fly? It's 45-45, Duke up 2. James again says, why not again? 52-47. Louisville down 11, they need to respond. Edwards grabs his own miss down low, fighting through defenders, trying to muscle his way through, and he lays it in for 2. 29 points for Edwards, but Duke trying to close it out, and they will as Patrick Gongbo lays it in. And with no Cooper flag, there's no problem. 73-62, Duke wins the ACC for the second time in the last 3 years.
Good evening, I'm Gage Wellman, and although I am not on shift for overtime, I've joined my friends at Sportscorner to go campus to campus. Let's start in the Big 12 between the Arizona Wildcats and Houston Cougars. And oh my goodness, what is that court as Emmanuel Sharp gets it going for the Cougars with a deep 3. Then it's KJ Lewis driving, gets the tough and 1 bucket. Now, Liv Sharp's pointing to me, she goes, am I related to Emmanuel Sharp? Well, he's a bit better at basketball, Liv. No offense to you, my friend. Jaden Bradley, he's going to take this one, and it's nothing but shooting practice for the Wildcats as he goes up 24-21 for Arizona. Houston back on offense, loses the ball. Nope, hands up in the hands of Javier Francis for the layup. Then it's going to be college veteran Caleb Love. He misses, but how about a little help from his friends? Henry Vassar putting up the Wildcats up by 5. Then Milos Uzan had a big game. He's going to pull up from 3, and you betcha. Then Cougars, they shot just under 40% from 3. Here's Cryer putting them up 47-44. Then, just absolutely craziness here. Where's the ball going? It's going to Toby Awaka for the layup. Then it's again Uzan. He had a tremendous ball game. Another deep 3. That's a big part of his game. And then here he is again, driving, dribbling, and he got 2 points. He had finished with 25. That was a game high for Houston. Then final seconds. What do we got here? A lot of commotion, a lot of anxiety. Boom! It's Francis giving the Cougars the win and the Big 12 by a final score of 72-64.
Want it noted, Gage has never watched me play basketball. Anyways, number 4 Tennessee taking on number 2 Florida. Let's get into the SEC Championship. Jemai Meshack feeds Jordan Gainey, and he's going to net the triple to make it a 1-point game. Good ball movement for the Gators. Ball gets to Will Richard. He dodges and drains a tray. Florida up 25-17. Zakai Ziegler looking to play hero once again, and that is smooth as butter. 6 ticks left in the first half. He from Denzel Aberdeen. Is it good? He's good. Look at the replay. Nearly a logo heave gives the Gators a 9-point lead. If you've watched this show before, you know this name. Chaz Lanier with the jumper. Florida adds to a comfortable lead. Aberdeen to Elijah Martin with a 2-hand slam. Great connection between the two. The Gators are showing no signs of slowing. The Vols still fighting, however. This bucket from Gainey alone outside the arc, and their next time down the court, he weaves into the paint, gets the layup, and the lead is now down to single digits. Florida lead is now down to 5 points, but Walter Clayton Jr. says, let's make it 8. Once again, Clayton riding the hot hand. He gets a wobbly pass and drops the 3. He led the Gators with 22 points, and a cross-court pass will put an exclamation point on the game. Martin with a huge dunk, and Florida wins the SEC Championship by a final score of 86-77.
All right, well, today was a glorious one because of the fact that we had Wisconsin and Michigan in the Big Ten tournament.
And that is not Matt Corrali's highlight, but thank you for opening it for me as Blackwell is going to get us going. Then it's Reuben Jones, transfer from North Texas, drains the 3-pointer. Then it's going to be Max Klesmit driving. Now you can't hear the audio, but he screamed. He wanted that foul bad, but did not get it. He's just going to have to settle for 2. Slava Golden's had a big year for the Wolverines and gets a bucket. He had strong 11 points for the Wolverines, and they needed it. Down 4 here, the Wolverines trying to claw back in. They find Danny Wolf, the veteran, and he gets it in. Down by 2, here he is again. Number 1, Mr. Wolf. What do you got? You got a tied game for Michigan. The Bananas are going crazy. Then it's John Tanjay. Boom, looking like Superman, looking like a plane. Looking great out there. Big men too, they can shoot it on a pick and roll. Stephen Crow taking the three-pointer, and it is absolutely cash. A check going to Madison for sure. Trey Donaldson down 3, picking the ball up and putting it in for the Wolverines. Then Trey Donaldson again, pull-up jumper, and with that shot, he is Michigan folklore in its very own definition. Then, final play, Blackwell tries to find the rim. No good, rebound, Blackwell puts up a shot, and it's too little, not enough, and way too late. As Danny Wolf's gonna dribble this one, giving the Michigan Wolverines the Big Ten by a final score of 59-53.
Okay. Now let's go to our Final Four brackets,
There we
because
go.
today the bracket came out, or Sunday I should say, Sunday night at 6. So let's take a look at our 3 predictions for the Final Four. Guys, I always pick my bracket with 3 instincts. Hype for the excitement that you got the bracket,
Great.
your heart,
2.
and
Got
your
a
head.
heart.
So now, somehow that led to an all-SEC Final Four for me. Auburn and Florida. I like Auburn in this matchup, getting the revenge. Florida did beat them in the regular season, and then I do like Alabama over high-octane Tennessee, setting up an Iron Bowl national championship on the hardwood in San Antonio. I'm going to go with Alabama. I want chaos, and I think in that weekend in April, we're going to get chaos if this is what is going to turn out to be.
All right, who's next?
And it is.
It's me! All right, so I have a similar sort of outcome in the Iron Bowl, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I have Auburn, obviously, coming out of that region. I have them facing off against Kansas. Rock Chalk, you know, they were the champs a couple of years ago. They've had some decent momentum, but I see Auburn coming out of that matchup. Then on the other side of things, I have Alabama and Gonzaga. You know, never sleep on the Zags. I've always been, a big supporter of Gonzaga. And honestly, I don't want to go with what everyone's going to say. I don't want to do something basic. So we're just gonna, that's what kind of shook loose for me. Again, like Matt, I have an Iron Bowl national championship, Auburn and Alabama, but I'm gonna take Auburn. You know what, I'm gonna ride the hot hand. Everyone has said Auburn all year long, and I know March is built for madness, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Before we begin my bracket, I'd like to clarify that Liv could probably beat me in a game of basketball, as at the ripe age of 18, I still can't put the ball between my legs.
My God.
Now, let's start
awesome.
with the
That's
Crimson
crazy.
Tide taking on the Cougars. That's a really tough defensive matchup. I'm going to give it to the Crimson Tide just because I believe they've got a bit more talent. And then, here's the shocker. I've seen no one talk about them, but the Ole Miss Rebels, they've had sort of this sneaky good season, and I think you always have to have the upsets. You can't always account for the Auburns and the top dogs to be there. I have the Johnnies taking them down, and in the national championship between the Johnny Red Storms and the Crimson Tide, I got the heart, like Matt said. I love St. John for this. I love what I'm seeing. I follow them all year. I'm really enjoying that.
Loves Rick Pitino.
I'm a big Rick Pitino guy, for sure.
So,
Hey, if they win, will you come on air wearing a white suit?
do you even have a white suit?
We're sending Gage to Goodwill.
I'm a pretty messy guy. You can find me often in Goodwill, but I'd probably spill something out.
I gotcha. Hey, that's valid. So,
Respect.
the first question here is what caught your eye from championship weekend? Is it St. John's and the fact that they won the Big East?
Well, Matt, they went undefeated in Madison Square Garden. And, when you got a guy like R.J. Lewis Jr. and just a couple of other great talented players led by the great Rick Pitino, who's won national championships at Kentucky and Louisville, I really like what I'm seeing from this team. I have them all the way because of their pride. Have you seen clips of this coach Pitino going? I haven't seen it. And it's so refreshing to see a coach really go at his players and say, "Do you want this? Do you want to be a national championship, or are you in it for the spectacle?" That's why I really love them. I really love them for their heart, and I really love them for their defense, honestly.
All right, so a lot happens during tourney weekend. Teams don't do as well as you think they're going to. So what teams lost your confidence?
So, again, I've talked about this a lot. The Duke Blue Devils, year in and year out, have the most talented team, honestly, maybe second or third to Florida or Auburn. But again, you got Kneppel and Proctor in those boys. But Cooper Flagg, MIA at the moment. We don't know what's going on. That sprained ankle, it's just a sprained ankle. But at this point in time, Monday, 3/17, we don't know if he is going to be on the court for the Blue Devils. Now, should he? You're getting a lot. You're getting his ball movement. You're getting his defense. You're getting Cooper Flagg, a National Player of the Year champion or candidate, along with Janai Broom. But again, it's just something about Duke that's making me thinking, not again.
14 SEC teams in the tournament. Is that too much?
Well, Matt, no. I mean, we have the Southeastern Conference, sort of the galactic evil empire, the Darth Vader and the Darth Sidious, if you will, of college basketball. But there's quality in that quantity. Florida, Ole Miss, Mizzou's a 3 seed. You've got Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, and this is not uncalled for. This is not something we've never seen in college basketball. Just in 2011, the Big East, it had 11 teams. That's actually who the SEC broke their record. So I think this is honestly well-deserved.
All right, well, thanks, Gage. We're looking forward to the madness.
No problem, and we'll have to do one-on-one soon at the Wellness Center, as Stone said.
We're filming that for sure, folks.
Oh, you can't miss that. Well, a last-second finish, and a team that was coming in hot went cold. We'll show you how when Sportscorner goes around the association.
Do you feel good about that? No. I'm looking at it right
in yellow today. Feel free to use orange. Feel free to use green. Feel free whatever you want to do. These are what I have in my refrigerator.
Students, especially those that are in CCI fondly enough, are going to be visiting there quite often. But does their reward program
Meet the scan. A simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you!
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Good morning. Hope you all had a good weekend and are ready to be inspired. One quick thing I want to remind you guys to be studying.
Major key alert. Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Class, today we're talking about inspirational quotes.
You want to get that paper? You better turn in that paper and get an A+. That's a major key. Another one. Mogul talk. You want to reach the mountaintop? You got to go hard. To succeed, you have to believe. Stay focused. Fly higher than the eagle. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote from recent history?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
The Cavs came into Sunday's matinee contest against the Magic at home with a 16-game winning streak, a franchise record, but it all came to a halt when Orlando came to town. Let's show you what happened. A 16-game streak, that is no small feat, and the Cavs have managed to put together a couple of 15s, too. Cleveland up by 3. Darius Garland drives and dodges a defender, gets the reverse layup. Here's Paolo Banchero, more like Paolo Banchero. He nets the step-back triple. Magic made it a one-score game, but not on Jared Allen's watch. That is a grown man slam. Should have been a foul, but that's neither here nor there. End of the half, DeAndre Hunter heave. It's good. He gets the arrow with the buzzer beater to end the first half. The Cavs were absolutely loving it. Franz Wagner defending DG, but he still drains the three-point from 28 feet out. And this is where things start to go downhill for Cleveland. Wendell Carter Jr. picks up the pass and elevates for the dunk. Tied at 80, time ticking down to the third. Donovan Mitchell in transition. Butter. Now to the fourth. Please put up your tray tables. Hit the replay. Air Spida is landing. Take a look at that. My goodness, he elevates for the slam. Crazy dunk there from Mitchell. Pass to Anthony Black in the corner. Black had 17 points off of the bench. Just goes to show you how deep that Orlando bench is. Cleveland down Evan Mobley, but DG to PG is willing the Cavs to stay in this game. Final 2 minutes, the Magic have a few more tricks up their sleeve. Contavious Caldwell-Pope drains a tray. Magic up by 3, Cavs with a chance to tie. Mitchell misses, Allen rebounds, Mitchell again. Another miss. The Orlando Magic escape Cleveland with a win, bringing that winning streak back down to 0.
76ers Washington. He's playing in his first game since March 1st with an ankle. This is on Sunday. He pulled up with a long two, and you wouldn't know that he had a bad ankle right here with that dunk. And later in the first quarter, Philly trying to get some momentum going offensively, as this is going to be Quentin Grimes nailing it from deep. It's 24-23 Sixers. Final seconds of the first, I raise you Jalen Hood-Schifino from downtown. 36-32 Philly through one. In the second, Brandon Williams, the second-year man out of Arizona, lays it in. Later on, they'll go inside with Washington, who slams it down, but first half coming to a close. Philly trying to establish the three ball again, and they will. It's Grimes from deep. He's put up 28, 68-64. At halftime, roll out the red carpet for Ricky Counts with the fourth to tie the game, all even at 76. Jared Brother, no. Gershon Yabusele, yes. And Philly's up by 2. In the fourth, Spencer Dinwiddie, and 1. He'll miss his free throw. It stays 105-98, a 10-point Sixer lead. You saw Jeff Dotman Jr. attempt the steal. Now he gets it, and he will slam it down for a 110-98 lead. Dallas trying to climb back into this thing. Klay Thompson hits one from the corner. It's a 4-point deficit. One-possession game now. Washington lays it in. He had 29 points and 12 rebounds, but Dallas can take the lead right here. Spencer Dinwiddie cannot come up clutch. Sixers win for the third time in 18 games, 130-125. All right.
That's good for the Sixers.
Oh, absolutely. So let's go back to the Cavs now, because here's something interesting.
Yeah.
Best record in the NBA. They are the third most favorite to win the NBA championship according to the odds makers. Boston and the Oklahoma City Thunder are the top two respectively. What are your thoughts? Why has that been the case?
I mean, I truly think that at this point of the season, after the last 6 weeks that we've seen of the Cavs, there should be no reason. But I'll offer a few, kind of maybe logical explanations. Celtics are defending champs. As long as they are good and consistently good, they're always going to be favored in the odds. OKC is doing, absolutely incredible things. SGA is a front runner for MVP, so it's a natural conclusion to think that they're going to win. The championship. But frankly, there is no reason the Cavs should at least be two ahead of the Celtics, if not also ahead of OKC. Wow. I think maybe the reason is that the Cavs haven't recently handily beaten OKC. We saw them eke away with a win, and then there was the loss, and there was all this back and forth. But OKC really isn't doing that hot right now. They had a 2-point win against Brooklyn, a 6-point win over the Jazz, and I just think right now they're on a skid, and the Cavs were really gaining momentum. But right now, I truly think there's no reason that they shouldn't be ranked at least second, and in my opinion, first.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with you. I totally get why they're in the ranking they are, and why the two teams are above the Cavs. Because Boston, look, they're the defending champs.
Yeah.
That should come as no surprise. I mean, they've proven it that they can go back-to-back, and in my opinion, they have the most depth out of any team in the NBA because of the fact that they've done it before, and everyone seemingly came back. But when it comes to the Thunder, like you mentioned, this is a young team. They have the probable MVP candidate in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, best team in the West. The chemistry is off the charts with that squad. And you talked about how they were kind of going in skids, only a 2-point win here and there. Cavs were really hot, but here's what I want to look at. It's because of the head-to-head matchups that these two teams have had back in January. Last game, total blowout in OKC. Thunder won that one by 20. And their first meeting, Cavs only won by 7 in their own building. So when you look at it like that, I could see why odds makers had that going. But let's shift to the Lakers.
Yeah.
They took down the Suns Sunday. No LeBron James due to a groin injury, so that raised up the question. What do you think, real quick, how far do you think the Lakers can go without LeBron? Give or take, that's something, God willing, were to have, God forbid.
God forbid were to
God
happen
forbid
to
were to
LeBron.
happen. Yeah.
Oh God, there'd be crying in Cleveland. I think that the only reason they would have any sort of success would be because Luka Doncic somehow became the Hercules of the NBA. They were on a 3-game losing skid while LeBron was gone. It's been 4 games. 3 of them they've lost, and 1 of them they've won. And I don't want to say it's because they played a bad team, because the Suns aren't bad by any measure. And despite the Lakers coming out to an early lead, the Suns nearly fought their way back. Kevin Durant fought to keep them in the game. But I truly think that if they continue without LeBron, I don't see them, building on their record. I see them staying where they are. Throughout the season, they're 4-4. They're at 50% without him. I think that's where they will continue to stay.
All right. Well, it may be hard to believe, but the MLB regular season gets underway tomorrow. We'll give you analysis for the upcoming season.
spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Hello. Mom, you gotta stop this. I'm in a library, okay? What could happen?
Yeah, stuff happens. 1 in 4 college students end up in the ER. That's why you need Emergency. Everything you need to handle an emergency. Share important info with your family and friends. Feeling unsafe? Help is 1 tap away with Urgent Alert. Upload your insurance card and your medical consent form so your family can speak to medical staff. Download Emergency now while it's still free, before stuff happens.
Well, MLB is wrapping up spring training here in a couple weeks. It's hard to believe. And making her Sports Corner debut to talk about it is Lexi Blatnick. Lexi, welcome to the desk.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's kind of start with this. Major League Baseball has been rolling out the automated batting system, as it has been seemingly effective, some people say, but others say that it's going to get brushed away down the line. What's your take?
So previously on Overtime, I talked about this, and I stood with Gage Wellman. I had to call it back. You did. I did, and I kind of changed my mind. On my way to work, I listened to a lot about baseball podcasts, and as long as the MLB treats this as like an isolated, okay, we're just making sure our umps, our refs or whatever are in line with what the rules are, so be it. You know what I mean? I think as long as it doesn't get out of hand, I don't think the MLB has any plans of really making robo-umps. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a point of contention with a lot of people. I was talking to my uncle about this as well, just because I was like, is it really something like people should be worried about? He brought up the 1996 World Series against the Braves and the Guards, and we live in Ohio, so it might be just a little biased, but he did bring up that the batter's box for Guards was like this, and the Braves were like this, and it would have been really, really handy to have that. So I don't have any problems with it yet. Until it goes against my team, then I'm going to be like, this is the stupidest thing to ever come out of Major League Baseball. But we have, it's rolling out next year? So we have time.
Tentatively. And they're still working out the kinks. It's not like they're just going to shove it in when things the best. We saw how long the pitch clock took to even reach the major leagues. But another asset the MLB is doing is called Spring Breakout. Were there any games that caught your eye?
Yes. So first of all, I think this is the one thing that matters in Spring Breakout, right? People are like, don't pay attention to the stats. They're not worth it. We're rolling out no names. So I think it's a perfect day. And guess what? It's St. Patty's Day. So we have to talk about the Boston Red Sox. So the Rays and the Boston Red Sox both have 4 out of the 12. Boston has 4 out of the 12 prospects, sorry. Boston has 3. They have Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, and Marcelo Mayer. Campbell and Mayer went back-to-back in this game, and then Williams from the Rays, Carson Williams, homered. So I think the future for both teams are very bright, but that score ended in 7-5. And then we have the Phillies and the Pirates. Right-handed pitcher Bubba Chandler made a TikTok and kind of one-upped Paul Skeens for his starting job, which was just announced today, I believe. I got it on my TikTok today. He pitched 2 perfect innings. I'm very excited to see where he goes. And then from the Phillies, Justin Crawford tripled and stole the base. So yeah, and then going on to the Guards and Mariners, I can't talk today. Durangelo Senja, we have a switch hitter.
Yeah.
A switch pitcher. Wow, whoa, whoa, crazy, right?
Hang the banner, hang the banner.
So yeah, when he first appeared, he started lefty and then he switched righty. The first time this ever happened, silly baseball lore, was in the minors in 2008, and when the pitcher kept switching, batter would just switch. So rule in baseball is pretty much pitcher has to choose for the whole at-bat appearance. Just fun trivia.
All right, well, thanks, Lex. We hope you had fun. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Well, over break, many developments came about when it comes to NFL free agency, and here to break it down for us is our own Evan Schofield. Evan?
Hey, thanks, guys. I probably should have joined you at the desk, but, you know, it's pretty full today. Well, welcome to the debut of the Schofield Shuffle, where I go through some key free agency shuffles. While all of you were enjoying your break, us here at Sports Corner were busy diving into every single free agency signing. Let's highlight a few of them. Well, starting off with a bang, free agent Steelers quarterback Justin Fields signed a 2-year, $40 million deal with the New York Jets. The Jets found their guy, but although Pittsburgh is in a dilemma, they had a big signing of their own. After a year of wide receiver trade rumors, they traded the second-round pick to the Seahawks to grab wide receiver DK Metcalf, signing him to a blockbuster 5-year deal worth $150 million. The only question is now, who's going to throw him the ball? But if you weren't keeping up, the Seahawks offense changed in a substantial way. Not only did DK head to the AFC, but so did his quarterback, Geno Smith, who was traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a 3rd-round pick. Who did the Seahawks replace Smith with, you ask? Well, it's only fitting to talk about him on St. Patrick's Day, as it was quarterback Sam Darnold, who signed a 3-year, $100 million deal. Talk about the luck of the Irish. Well, the Hawks land their QB, but let's not pretend like that receiver room didn't need some help. Well, over the weekend, they got that help, signing all-pro wide receiver and former Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp to a 3-year deal worth $45 million. He gets $15 million a year like he wanted and goes back to Washington, where he played his college ball. This came after the release from the Rams, and the Hawks receiver room looks a bit better now after also pairing him with veteran Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who signed a 1-year, $5.5 million deal, and the Cooper Kupp trade provided the Los Angeles Rams fans with a lingering question: who's going to help wide receiver 1 of the Rams, BYU product Puka Nacua? That answer came with the signing of another big-time receiver, 6-time Pro Bowler Devontae Adams. He penned his 2-year, $46 million deal with the team. Adams looks to have similar success with quarterback Matthew Stafford as he did with quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Don't even get me started on that guy, because clearly, you know. But we've talked receivers, but no offense can be that good without a ground game to complement the pass game. A few running backs shuffled around as former Steelers running back Najee Harris stiff-armed his way back to the Bay Area, signing with the Los Angeles Chargers on a 1-year deal worth $9.75 million. There's no doubt Harris put up 4 straight 1,000-yard-plus seasons, but his yards per carry is something that must go up when paired with head coach Jim Harbaugh, as he averaged 3.9 yards per carry in his career so far. Now, Evan, what's an offense without a tight end? Well, there isn't one, folks. There's a National Tight End Day for a reason. A specific tight end was released since we last saw each other, as Evan Ingram shuffled over to the Denver Broncos, who are having a very nice offseason. He signed a 2-year, $23 million deal with the Broncos, totaling 365 yards last year. Now looks to help out in Sean Payton's offense with new second-year quarterback Bo Nix. Out of the way, now let's move over to the defensive side of this free agency period, and unlike the Bengals, some teams spent money on their defense. The reigning Super Bowl champs let defensive tackle Milton Williams hit free agency. The 2021 3rd-round pick had 2 sacks in the big game against Patrick Mahomes, and he goes to the Patriots on a massive 4-year, $104 million contract. The Patriots started the free agency frenzy with the most cap space in the league, and they've spent it, guys. And another Super Bowl contender for the next year also signed their defensive stud. After his release from the Chargers, defensive end Joey Bosa signed with the Buffalo Bills. He gets 1-year deal worth $12.6 million. Thanks for joining me on the Schofield Shuffle and your latest in the NFL. With KSTV, I'm Evan Schofield. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you so much, Evan. Well, we welcome in Jordan Hiles at the desk. And Jordan, you had a very fun spring break because you headed down to Tampa Bay to attend the very first She Is Football Summit. So for those of you who don't know, explain to us, what is the She Is Football Summit and what's its purpose?
Yes, the She Is Football Summit, this was the very first year that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have hosted this event, and it really just gave women of my age and older to have the experience to gain connections in sports. You know, people in sports is predominantly male, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers want to change that. The owner, Darcy Glazer Kasowitz, has made it her mission to empower and advance women in their careers and sports. And the best thing that I've gained from this was the career advancement. The summit gave us the opportunity to engage in mentoring sessions with females who work in all areas of the sports industry. Some of the mentors who were current NFL sideline reporters like Sarah Walsh and the CEO of the Women's Sports Foundation, Danette Layton. They shared their experiences in the sports industry and what it takes to get to where they are today. And their advice gave us the insight in how will we be able to achieve our own individual goals. And the main takeaway for me was networking. I was able to create relationships with women who have their own sports magazines or have the same goals as I do. And it was really fun to be able to connect with different people. The summit inspires the next generation of women leaders, and the She Is Football Summit served as a platform to celebrate women leadership and encourage young girls to remain engaged in sports.
That sounds like an awesome experience. What inspired you to go to this summit?
Well, I actually saw this ad on Instagram, and as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to sign up and I had to go. I called my mom and I was like, this is the perfect opportunity. It's over spring break. It's at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium. Perfect spot to be. And it was amazing being able to talk to 800 girls who have the same goals as I do. I was able to meet Darcy, and I was able to meet all the famous Erin Andrews, Carissa Thompson, and just learn from them and how they got to where they are today. And that's just truly, the connections I was able to meet and make was insane, and I was so grateful I was able to experience it.
Well, they're absolute icons, as are you. Well, you know it, you love it, and you probably played it. Sportscorner tackles today's Immaculate Grid.
New data about safety and effectiveness can come to light. The FDA keeps track of that new data, which can come from patients, drug makers, or healthcare professionals, and may include information about negative reactions to prescriptions. Based on this information, the FDA may recommend that the drug maker update the drug labeling by adding warnings or updated dosage information. Changes could also include the FDA requesting a drug recall. Find the answers at fda.gov/drugs.
First, they said cigarettes were safe. We know how that turned out. Now, they say they didn't market e-cigarettes to teens? Fact, more than 1 in 4 high school students are vaping, and 80% say their first e-cigarette was flavored. Vaping is harmful to developing brains. The reason we think vaping is safe? Marketing. Same lies, different day. Tell Big Vape to quit lying.
Hey, I'm worried about your parents. We need to show them how to spot phishing emails.
Agree, the scammers are out of control.
Plus, help them add multi-factor authentication.
Yes, we use MFA at work and it's great. Software update? Done. Time to celebrate.
For more information on how to keep yourself and those you care about safe online, go to cisa.gov/secure-our-world.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? I'm high. Oh.
Well, while we were away on spring break, we had conference championships filled with some of the coolest storylines. So for empowerment this week, let's take a look at a few. First, I want to highlight the Harvard Crimson. They got their first Ivy League championship in history in head coach Kerry Moore's 3rd season. Moore is the first black head coach in Crimson history, and they are headed to their first NCAA tourney appearance since the 2006-2007. A big part of that appearance is due to Harmony Turner, who was the first Harvard player to win Ivy Player of the Year, ever. There were also some hard-fought battles with San Diego State winning the Mountain West in triple overtime, and a buzzer-beating shot from Mara Dykstra where she got her own rebound and the layup to send Montana State, the Bobcats, to the big dance. We had some repeat champs like Fairfield, who went back-to-back in the Metro Atlantic, and Norfolk State, who completed the three-peat in the Mid-Eastern. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the UC San Diego Tritons, who punched their ticket in their first year of D1 eligibility and picked up their first Big West Tourney championship in history. Now, I know that this week that men's tourney talk will dominate the media, but on the other side, there are 64 talented teams ready to make history in women's basketball. and they deserve just as much attention. So every once in a while, flip the channel to see what ladies are shattering ceilings and dropping threes.
I'm going to crash out.
Okay.
Well, we talked about it basketball. We actually talked about, this actually harps on something that we talked about it earlier with Maddox Miller, talking about the NIT. Realistically, why do we have it? Why do we have it? As a fan, as an enjoyer of sport, competition, and championships, there's no reason, to me, why anyone would participate in a tournament like the NIT. And I know there are some comparisons. You'll be like, Matt, what about college football? Some of these lower schools that can't really get to the college football playoff, they get bowl games to reward them for their seasons. Yes, that is true. However, they are first in the games. You know, right before Christmas, right after Christmas in the holiday season, right before the new year, they get their time to shine. Center stage. And then it's the college football playoff. What these people at the NIT are doing it during March Madness, no one is going to give a hoot about any of these teams that are playing in the NIT, the Crown. They're all just Power 5 teams. The Crown? Fox Sports is just looking for someone to put on the TV during March because CBS is going to dominate in the ratings. So please, and how are teams even going to be like, yeah, let's bring the NIT? I get it for other reasons, but as someone who enjoys just flat out competition, the grind to a title, it makes no sense to me. So either make these tournaments mandatory for people to participate in and have them either actually just before the NCAA tournament, or, in my opinion, just dismantle them at all. That was this week's Crawley Crash Out. So, tonight...
Time. I have to say my piece. Matt, mid-major teams repeatedly get left out unless they win their auto bid in their conference championship. This is their only chance to make a name for themselves nationally. For those players who want to be drafted, it gives them a chance to put on a show. You telling me you don't care about the mid-major teams? That's the Live Sharp Crash Out.
I will then, to that, expand the NCAA tournament. Get these bubble teams, these mid-majors.
All right.
These number 2 and 3, they're sick of going out. Expand it a little bit. So tonight, we have the return of a Love Sports Corner game. It is the Immaculate Grid.
Yeah, for those who don't know, the Immaculate Grid is a trivia game in which you must fill out a 3x3 grid by guessing which players correctly match the categories. Let's take a look. What do we have today? We were all told not to play it, so okay. We're going to have some friends over on Couch Island real quick. So we've got the New York Giants, the New Orleans Saints, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Seattle Seahawks, Buffalo Bills, and Super Bowl champ. Gage Wellman says he already has one. Gage, what say you?
Jimmy Graham, Saints Seahawks.
Saints Seahawks, Jimmy Graham.
That'll do it.
We're waiting for it. We have our people in the back, our men behind the curtain, if you will.
Yep.
What's that?
I fondly remember this. I had a Jimmy Graham jersey. When I was a kid.
Jimmy Graham, actually, he is correct.
Ding! Yeah. That is correct. All right, let's do an easy one, cross an easy one off the board. Eagles, Super Bowl champ. Let's go with Jalen Hurts.
Nick Foles.
You know,
no.
The goal is to get it as rare as possible, but since there's no score, because we're just doing this to fill it out,
we don't have the rarity rating.
So the New Orleans Saints, Super Bowl champion, I'll go Jeremy Shockey. Little tight end action. University of Miami.
Yeah.
It's all about the U.
Couch Island, who do we have? What do you got? Maddox Miller, what say you?
Giants, Bills, Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, yeah!
You know what? And I guess we'll go for the Giants and the Seahawks, Geno Smith.
Geno Smith. Geno money.
Wait, he was a Giant?
He was a
Giant.
What do we have? We're like flying through this. They're going to be so upset with us.
They just came in our ear and said we can only go so fast.
Yeah, we have to. We're going to take a breath.
Was MVS
Saints Super Bowl champ?
Saints Super Bowl champ. There's some obvious ones.
Jeremy Shockey was the Saints Super Bowl champ.
Yeah. Did we get Jeremy Shockey?
I was gonna say
they'll double check it while we reminisce.
You know, David Tyree, Giants in the Super Bowl champ.
Yeah.
David Tyree,
the helmet catch.
Giants.
Can't forget about that.
We gotta get some Eagles.
Okay, so we've gotten rid of all the Super Bowl champs. You know,
we just need Saints,
Bills,
Eagles, Bills, and Eagles, Seahawks. So. Man, I'm trying to think of like a defensive player.
Fitzpatrick was a Bill, but he was never a Saint or an Eagle.
Do we have any Couch Island? Anyone have anything?
Eagles.
Also, who did we say for Giants Super Bowl?
Did Valdez
David
Tyree?
Well, who'd you say, Stone?
David Tyree.
David Tyree. Yes, there he is.
The Bills.
He was a Saint.
Shout out to our CG operator Spencer for rocking with all of these super fast updates.
Eagles,
Saints and
yeah,
Bills.
Shady McCoy.
Eagles, Bills.
Eagles, Bills?
Yeah,
Shaden McCoy.
Shaden McCoy is the call.
That would have been bad. That would have been a bad miss.
Ding, ding, ding. Okay.
It's the call.
All right, so we have 2 left.
I feel like Eagles-Seahawks is such a layup.
Gosh, I wish Alex Isaiah were here.
Tavares Campbell was not an Eagle.
We miss you, Alex Isaiah. We have some other friends in the studio. Do either of you guys know Seahawks?
I feel like.
What do you got?
Seahawks, Eagles, Michael Bennett.
Michael Bennett!
Michael Bennett is absolutely correct.
Michael Bennett?
Jacob Krause.
Jacob Krause
from left field.
Was over there. We have, like we said, we have our live studio audience. Jacob Krause coming up clutch.
So,
one more to go.
I wish you could do
Saints,
coaches,
Bills.
You could do Rob Ryan in the middle, but you can't.
Well, we can't do.
Saints, Bills. I'm going to be honest. I have
I'm
no idea.
I've got no clue.
Saints,
I'm
Bills.
trying to
Melvin Ingram
think
was never
back
a
in the
Bill,
day.
Or Mark.
Oh, man.
Anyone recent?
I don't.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Um,
I don't think Mark Ripien was ever either
Peterman
one of these
was
two
never.
teams. That was just a name that popped
Taysom
up.
Hill was never.
No.
Carr was never.
Taysom Hill.
Hey, Taysom Hill mentioned.
Anyone
Frank
know
Gore was never.
New Orleans Saints centers? That could have possibly been.
O-lineman, you
Buffalo.
lose me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe
we
the year
have 90
1993.
seconds to figure this out.
Oh,
no rush.
Oh my goodness.
Who?
There was a
Liv.
receiver that
Yes.
Live.
Yes.
I swear.
Jarvis Landry was never.
This is journalism. We stand on a basis of truth.
I
I just happen to leak over. It's Pro Football Reference.
What?
Unbelievable.
I
I feel like I don't even know you anymore. Oh, you know what?
PFF, get me out of here.
This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. You know what? That'll wrap it up for us. Just
No,
go to
that's not
thekentstater.com.
true. That's not true. We're not wrapping it.
I will not deal with a cheater. This is obscene. I am walking out. I am walking out. Walk out. Bye, everyone. This moment, I have never been more ashamed, Liv. Can't believe it. Will not believe it. Unbelievable. This is ridiculous. Going home.
Okay, that's fun. Would anyone like
Walking
to wager
off.
a guess what it is?
This is absurd.
Can we get a position of a popular answer?
Luke McCann
We have 20
played for the Bills?
seconds.
What's the position?
It's really popular.
20. Most of these only played for one season. The one that I
Yeah.
think you guys are going to be able to get, he's a running back.
Oh!
Goodness me.
Kamara was never. No, he's still in the Saints.
It's probably some random.
I'm gonna be so mad at
She's
myself.
Reggie Bush.
Reggie Bush.
Oh! He's a Bill?
Is he not coming back?
No, he's done. He's done. He's done.
You-
I wish we could get studio cam to see how done he is, Liv.
Wait, he's over.
There we go. Good shot. Good shot.
I'm crying. All right, well, that'll do it for this edition of Sports Corner. Thank you so much for watching. For updates from us 24/7, head over to kentstater.com and be sure to tune into Overtime right here every Friday at 7 p.m. I'm Liv Sharp saying wherever the ball flies in the air, the Kent Stater Sports Network will be there. Good night.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.